What's up guys, Adrian here. Welcome to my channel on passive income investing. In this video, I'll show you what the best and most efficient way to invest in the cannabis sector is as a passive income investor. If you didn't already see my other video on this topic, please make sure to check it out because I describe why you should invest in this sector in the first place. So let's get started. What stocks do I buy? Do the stocks even give a dividend? Let's answer some of these questions. So all the current public companies in the cannabis sector are not profitable yet, and none of them give a dividend. This is totally normal and understandable, as dividends are profits from a business distributed to its shareholders. No profits, no dividends. In terms of picking and choosing which stocks to buy, I wouldn't suggest buying any of these companies individually. Too risky right now, and it's hard to tell which ones will dominate, although the current leader is definitely Canopy Growth. In addition, as passive income investors, we don't buy stocks that don't give a dividend, right? So what's the best way to invest in the cannabis sector as an investor? Well, the answer is a dividend paying ETF. ETFs are a great way to get exposure to a specific sector of the market where companies don't typically pay a dividend, like the technology sector, for example. This case is no exception. So what's the best cannabis ETF out there? Well, the answer is the Marijuana Life Sciences ETF. The stock symbol is HMMJ, and it's from a company called Horizons ETFs. So there are four main reasons why I think this is the best way to invest in the cannabis sector. Reason number one, this is an index ETF, which means you're getting exposure to all the major cannabis companies in North America. So this saves you the trouble of having to pick and choose individual stocks, and of course this reduces your risk. Number two, the ETF is professionally managed by a really good company that specializes in ETFs. Horizons is one of my favorite ETF companies. They have a lot of innovative products, and this ETF was actually the first ever cannabis ETF that came out in 2017. Of course, other ETF companies followed afterwards, but Horizons was the first, further proving that they know what they're doing. Also, they rebalance the fund quarterly, so you're sure to get the right exposure to the very best cannabis companies. Reason number three, the ETF holds not only the big cannabis producers like Canopy Growth or Aurora, but also companies that relate indirectly to the industry. So a good example are pharmaceutical companies who are doing research and developing medicine with cannabis, or another example is a REIT or real estate investment trust, which specializes in real estate for the production of cannabis. So you're getting really good diversification within the sector. And reason number four, my favorite reason, this ETF provides a dividend. So this is the key reason for me because I'm an investor. I care mostly about the passive income that I get from my investments and not necessarily the growth potential. For me, that's just like a bonus. So dividends that come from an ETF are technically called distributions, but it's essentially the same thing, passive income. Oh, and the best part, the dividend yield is huge right now. It's actually between 15 and 16% annually. Yes, the distribution will fluctuate every quarter, but Horizons has been pretty consistent when it comes to the payouts. So big question, how the heck does this ETF pay a dividend if none of the companies in it give a dividend? Well, I emailed Horizons and they replied within a few hours, so I got the answer for you. So now that you know the main reasons, let's take a look at this ETF in detail, their dividend history, as well as Horizons' response to my email. So let's quickly check out the price chart of the ETF itself. So it started in early 2017, that's when it came out, and it started at a price at about $10. And as you can see, it did pretty much the same thing with the rest of the cannabis companies. It went up pretty significantly. The max price was at about $24, $25, $26. And in April of 2019, that's when it started going down dramatically. So as you can see here, starting in April at $21, now it's all the way down to about $6.17 today. So let's check out the ETF in detail on their webpage. So here I'm on the homepage of the HMMJ ETF. So you could see all the basic information here, like the management fee, which is 0.75%. And if you click on the fact sheet here, that's where you'll get this document which describes everything you need to know about this ETF. And if you scroll down, obviously you get the charts here. If you scroll down, you could see the top holdings. So number one is Canopy Growth, no surprise, with 13%. And you have all the big cannabis companies that you really want exposure to. So pharmaceutical companies like Kronos and GW Pharmaceuticals. You have companies that are indirectly tied to the industry, like Scott's Miracle Grow. I mean, these guys make fertilizer. And you have the REIT that I was talking about before, the REIT that specializes in making in having property for cannabis producers. It's called the Innovative Industrial Properties REIT. It makes up 7%, and so forth and so forth. You have the biggest producers here: Tilray, Aurora, or Organogram. So you're getting a really good diversification within the sector. Let's check out the distribution or the dividend history now. So the distribution right now, the 12-month trailing yield, or what the distribution has been for the last year, is at 16.69%, which is very, very, very high, really, really good. But are they actually paying out the dividend? Well, let's check out the history. So in 2017, you could see here, it started off as a semi-annual distribution, then they switched to quarterly. So at 0.09. If we go to 2018, you could see the amounts. They vary, but they're pretty consistent. You got 0.28, 0.23, 0.19, 0.28 again. In 2019, you have a nice big one here, 0.38, then 0.20, 0.26, 0.26. And if we look at 2020, the first one just came out recently, 0.26 again. So really good consistency, pretty good consistency when it comes to their distributions, which is a big part of why we want to get this ETF, because we're passive income investors and the dividend is the most important thing. So the last question now is, how are they sustaining their dividend? How do they generate the money to give us a distribution? So to answer my question on how they actually pay out a distribution, they referenced or they sent me links to 2 articles. So here you have them, guys. The first article here from Horizons. And basically, they explain that typically companies in early stage industries aren't expected to generate any significant yield for investors. That's certainly true of marijuana focused companies, which are not expected to pay out any dividends. However, the HMMJ ETF currently generates an attractive quarterly yield for its unit holders earned through participation in securities lending. So there's the answer: securities lending. So it goes on to explain that securities lending is a common practice with mutual funds and ETFs. In fact, one of the reasons that many large ETFs can charge low management fees is because they can offset many of their operating costs by lending out up to half of their underlying securities and earn additional income. So there you have it, guys. Basically, I didn't even know that you could do this, but they lend out a lot of their shares and get a lot of premiums for it. It reminds me of the covered call strategy that a lot of my funds have. And in the second article that they reference, this is an article from the Globe and Mail. You could read on it yourself, but there's a nice comment here from the VP of Horizons. It says that due to a number of factors that include volatility and the amount of free market float and available lenders, many of the stocks in HMMJ can be lent out at higher than average lending rates compared to what is available for traditional large cap equities. So that is how they sustain or give us a dividend. They lend out their shares and get a premium to do so. Pretty genius if you ask me. Fantastic. So there you have it, guys. I hope that you're convinced and will invest in this ETF ASAP. I personally have $12,000 in it myself and make an average of about $90 a month in dividends alone. So keep in mind that the dividends are not guaranteed. Very important to understand that. But since I've owned this ETF and it's been years now, I have yet to be disappointed as they consistently give the distribution. So this ETF is perfect for a passive income investor like myself who just buys and holds and wants to get in on the cannabis sector. In my opinion, this is one of the most underrated opportunities as an investor right now. Will it take time and will there be hurdles along the way? Most definitely. I mean, the US still has to legalize it at the federal level, so it could take years. Make no mistake about it, this investment is for patient investors who are happy to wait it out. But hey, if you're getting nice dividends along the way, I don't know about you, but I'm happy to wait. I mean, I got time and it's not like we're doing any work to get this free money, right? So check out the links in the description of the video, guys. I'll put the link to the ETF homepage so you could read up on it yourself. I'll also put the links to the 2 articles that explains how they sustain their dividend. So that's the end of the video, guys. I really appreciate you watching. Thanks a lot. Please hit the like and subscribe button if you haven't already done so you could see the videos that I keep releasing on these types of investment strategies and tips, as well as videos on my own personal dividend stock portfolio, which is a lifelong work in progress. So take care, guys, and see you next time.